Well, hello, amazing business owners. I want to know, how are you doing right now? I am recording this in May of 2020 for anyone that might be listening months from now, and we are still in the thick of the coronavirus pandemic, and I genuinely want to know where you're at and how you're doing. Some of us, myself included, raising my hand here, just need a reminder every once in a while to take some time for ourselves. Before we dive into today's topic, I wanted to be that little bird in your ear to give you some hope. We are moving forward through all of this chaos. Everyone's in a different situation, I get that, but we will all get through it and go back to thriving. And dare I say, maybe even thrive more than we were before. We will be stronger. We are approaching this with courage and hope, and we will get through it. Schedule some time to take care of yourself. Even if you're listening to this months from now and the pandemic is gone and you can go out and party whenever you want, I still want to remind you to take care of yourself. Love on yourself, notice and address your own needs too. You can't serve others, including your family or your clients, if you're run down and empty. That being said, who's ready for some advice on how to tackle huge projects, especially and specifically website changes? I am. Raise your hand. Can I get an amen? By the end of this episode, I want you to feel confident in gathering all of those random thoughts, ideas, and suggestions into groups so that you can tackle them head on and get shit done easily and quickly. I want you to feel productive because it is an amazing feeling to know that you got something done in your business. And right now, sometimes all we have is 30 minutes, right? Sometimes we have to put on a show on Disney Plus. We got 30 minutes and we just want to knock some things off of the list so that we know that we got some things done. So we are going to walk through how to organize these updates so that you can feel more productive and that you got some things done in a short amount of time. I have run a few businesses in my life, and with every business that I've had, I have gone out of my way to create or join an amazing support group, which is awesome, except for when there are a ton of people in that group and they're all giving you suggestions and ideas at once. And you're working on other things, and while you love the advice, you just can't do it all at that exact second. There are so many amazing seasoned professionals that are trying to help, and it's amazing, but then it becomes overwhelming and it can even be frustrating. You're thinking to yourself, what was it that she told me? What was that answer that I loved? That one person asked about something that I went through too, and what was the thing they suggested, and it drives you crazy. And then you start searching in the Facebook groups for the suggestion, that you loved, but you didn't write it down, or even worse, you wrote it on a Post-it note and stuck it somewhere, and now it's lost in the abyss that is your desk. Or maybe that's just my desk. No one else. Is my desk the only one that is chaos pretty much all the time? Even though I clean it off almost daily, I swear it can be so frustrating. There are so many things that just get thrown on my desk, and I'm actually going to share a photo of it in the show notes. But I wanted to actually show you what it will look like because I'm totally not making this up. My pile of Post-it notes, I call it the random best intentions Post-it pile, is right next to my Lego figurines that my son has built for me through the years, my memory cards from recent sessions, my earbuds, my sunscreen, all the necessities, right? The point is there are so many suggestions and ideas. These are things that are meant to make your life easier, things to change existing plans that you may have in place in your business, things to add into places in your business. It is truly never ending, and it can be chaos trying to keep up with everything. So how do you start to keep things organized, especially when it comes to a big project like your website? Your website is a living, breathing thing in your business. It will constantly be changing. It never ends when you think about the things that you want to change and update in your website, and that's a good thing, but how do you keep track of all of this? This is so overwhelming. So we are going to walk through it. Now, you may have noticed, if you're watching this on YouTube, that I'm not quite very well versed in my slides. And if you're listening to this as a podcast episode, you're probably like, what the hell? What slides? What are you talking about? So first, let me say that this is a podcast episode, and I will be walking through everything in the audio format for sure. But if you're a visual person and would like to see what this actually looks like, I will be putting this episode on YouTube as well. And it will have the actual screenshots, and I'll walk you through it. It's something that I've been meaning to do for a while, to integrate YouTube. So we'll start with this because the visual will be a great reference. I don't know. We'll see how it works. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. So give me a little bit of grace, give me a little bit of love, and we'll get through it together. Plus, then I can put in the slide of my best random intentions post-it pile so that you can feel like you're more organized than I am and like give yourself a high five, or you can know that you're not alone. Either way, it will give you a visual reference of my post-it pile and the tool that I use to organize and keep track of all of these random ideas and suggestions that are thrown around constantly. If you would like to see the video version of this, head over to the show notes at businessstraightedup.com/036 for a direct link, or you can go to the YouTube channel at businessstraightedup.com/YouTube. There are several tools that I use daily in my business, and most of them are pretty much essential for me. Gmail is one of them, Google Calendar is another, and the third is the one that we're actually going to talk about today. The one that I want to share with you today is called Asana. It's spelled Asana. It is a project management tool that is absolutely amazing when it comes to breaking things down, setting deadlines, and holding yourself accountable. You can even include other people into your team for Asana. I will be the first person to say that I do not use Asana to its full capabilities. It is something that I know I have only scratched the surface with, but I use it daily, and it is a huge part of organization in my business. So as kind of a side note and bonus for any of my moms out there, I actually use it for my kids' chores as well, which I know seems very silly, but it means that it is super easy to keep track of them and set due dates and make sure that they're on task and taking care of the things that they need to take care of. Now, obviously, my 5-year-old is not quite there yet, but my 15-year-old does have Asana on his phone, and he knows what his chores are every single day, and you can actually set it up to repeat those chores over and over again so that his Tuesday chores are always the same on Tuesday, or his Wednesday chores. I also use it for a honey-do list, which is kind of nice if I come up with something that needs to be done at midnight, because my husband and I have very different schedules. He is the morning person and I am the night owl. So if I think of something really late, I can put it into Asana and he'll see it in the morning. I also keep templates in Asana. When my son was in football, we had certain things that we needed to pack every time, and I was tired of forgetting things. So I made a template in Asana. That way my whole family could see it and help me pack when it came to football games. So this is not just for business. Asana is such an amazing tool. I highly recommend it. And what I'm going to talk about today and show you is what I call my parking lot. It's where the to-do, the changes, all of the different ideas go. And I've created this project in Asana. I run 2 businesses, my photography business, because yes, I am a working boudoir photographer, and my teaching business where I work with creative business owners to learn the business side of things so that they can design their lives in the way they want to. It's important to me to keep things organized for each business, and I try to keep the systems somewhat the same, even though naturally they'll be a little different because they're different businesses. Usually some of my favorite ideas will come up at the most random times. So while I'm driving, in the shower, when I lay down to go to sleep, and other really inopportune times that I can't just stop what I'm doing and take action as much as I would love to do that. Sometimes I'll be playing or coloring with my kids and get an idea, something I need to do. And again, it's not really a time for me to take action on it. I want to be completely present with my kids when I'm with them. So instead of hoping to remember the idea later when I actually have time to work on it, I just jot it down in Asana. They have phone apps for both iOS and Android. And if I'm hands-free and I can't open the app, I'll just talk to Google and tell Google to send me a reminder to add it to Asana using voice to text. And actually, as I say that, I look down at my phone hoping that it doesn't wake it up because that would be very loud while recording. When you run a business, you're likely in a Facebook group or another community that has a ton of ideas and professionals. And even if you're a seasoned professional, collaborating with others and learning little tricks that they learn can be crazy valuable. I'm actually a part of Mastermind with higher end photographers that all have a certain income level, which is amazing. And I love, love, love these ladies. But there are times that we have questions that we want to ask each other, like this is a situation that I'm facing, or this is an idea that I use that worked very well. There might be a thread in a group for how someone is handling something that you've come across, or they have a great idea on wording or something that you'd like to implement in the future. When it comes to website changes, maybe you've come across a website that you really love and you wanted to implement a change in your own website based on what you saw. Now, I want to be really, really, really clear here. This is not about copying someone else's ideas. This is about things like adding a terms and conditions page because, hey, you realize that, oh yeah, I need one of those. This is about seeing that someone else has changed their 404 error page to actually be productive with links and photos instead of just a blank error page for their website, and you want to do that as well. These are not new ideas, y'all. These are not original ideas. You're not copying someone's text or images. You are looking at something that they did and going, oh, hey, maybe I need that too. It happens all the time. Maybe someone gave you an SEO tip, like adding more text in a specific spot, and you want to make a note of that to change later. Maybe you are in my Business Straight Up community and you submitted your website for a critique and you took notes when I went through your website and you have several changes you want to make, but you can't necessarily do it right now. Maybe you have an older blog post that you want to update with new information, but you need to do it later. You can't focus on it right this minute. You're not copying the text or the images, but you see something that you want to learn and implement for yourself. The point is that we are all seeing suggestions and ideas and learning new things all the time. And not all of these ideas or suggestions or new skills can be implemented immediately. We don't all have the bandwidth to just drop everything and work on something when we learn it. So when you have all of these things that you want to work on, all of these ideas, all of these suggestions, all of these things that you have worked on, what the heck do you do with them? I call it the parking lot. Now, everyone calls it something different. And I thought that I learned this idea from Todd Herman in the 90-Day Year. But when I was actually preparing this episode, I went back to double check and he does not call it the parking lot. So he calls it the pile-up zone because he's kind of a sports guy. So that makes more sense for him. So I call it the parking lot. I don't know where I got that, but it works for me. The idea is that we all have certain things that need to be done in business that cannot be skipped. These are the things that are must-dos, and whether they're done by you or by someone else doesn't matter, but they can't just be dropped if you want to stay in business. So some examples of these might be client calls, ordering or placing orders, finalizing orders, anything that you have to do to maintain a good client relationship and reputation. There are other things in business that need to be done, but they can be done later. They're great ideas, they're valid, but they need a place to live so they're not forgotten, so that when you can switch focus, you can work on them. Todd calls it the pile-up zone. I call it the parking lot. This is my parking lot. This is what it looks like. I actually have 2 businesses because I have my teaching one and my photography. And I'm going to show you what my photography parking lot looks like. In my case, it is extremely helpful to have things sorted in the parking lot so that I can batch everything. If you have listened to any of my previous episodes about productivity and batching, you know that I am a huge fan of chunking things. I like to set aside a certain amount of time and get things done in one particular category so that I don't have to jump back and forth. There's this idea of context switching, and that you actually lose some of your brain's ability to focus when you're switching back and forth constantly. For instance, I have a contract changes section in my parking lot, which you can see right here. That is something that is so helpful so that when something comes up that needs to be added to my contract, I'll just put it there. And then once a month or so, I can go in and make all of the necessary changes at once, or as many as I have time for. It helps immensely with productivity. It helps with organization. It is just overall a really, really handy thing to have. When it comes to your website, there are likely a ton of ideas and things that you want to do, but you may not be able to do right now. The ideas are valid and good, and you don't want to just ditch them. And as we've seen, based on my desk and my best intentions pile up Post-it note pile, the Post-its don't work. And I love Post-its, but it doesn't work for this. I recommend creating a space to put these ideas, a parking lot, for larger projects such as your website changes, so that you can set aside an hour or 4 and do them all at once. From a productivity standpoint, this means that you are so much more productive because you're not dealing with the context switching and losing some brain power in the process. You can really focus on what you're doing and get more done. Plus, you're not letting things slip through the cracks. Ideas are documented, and if they're already done, or if you change your mind, in Asana, you just check it off and it'll go away and be removed from the list. So let's take a look at what this looks like. And again, if you're listening in audio, I will walk you through it. But if you're watching on YouTube, then you can actually see what this looks like. I am logged into Asana, and my parking lot is basically a list of to-dos. This is my photography business parking lot. You can see that there are several different sections. Some of the sections that I have are random, like this is random to-dos. These are going to be things like follow up with a stylist to do a model session, or order a new sample of this. The things that need to be done, but they're not necessarily like top of mind. I have to do them right this second. This will also house things like change the icons in Instagram, the little things that you know you need to do, but you're probably not going to do right this second. It's also, I have a section called BSP marketing materials list. This is things that I may need to get printed again. So maybe I need to print out some new postcards, or I need to make new hats, or I need to do any of the branded materials that I have for my photography business. If I need more of those and I notice that I'm getting low, but I don't really need them right this second, they'll go in here. I also have welcome packet updates. So if someone sends me an excellent testimonial and I want to add that into the welcome packet, that'll go into welcome packet updates. Inquiry email, things that I want to add to my inquiry email. Maybe I thought of something else. Those will go there. Contract changes, final survey changes. If I think of something that I really want to ask someone after their session, I'll put it there. Pricing changes, the new shoot checklist, all of the things that I want to add to my checklist for every session, promo video ideas, all of these things that I want to keep track of so that I can batch them and go back later. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see what all of this looks like. And I love that I have all of them in one place. For this episode, we're going to kind of focus on the website changes section. You can see all of the different tasks if you're watching in video. There are actually 39 right now. Now, some of them I've already done and I just forgot to check off. So I can check them off. They get removed from the list. No worries. Some of them will actually change because I added them a long time ago and I've learned new information, so it may not apply anymore, and that's okay too. Remember, this is just a brain dump. This is just a place to put all of the random things that are going on in your head so that you can get them out of your head and come back to them later when you can focus on them. The important part is that they're all in one place so that when I block off some time, I can do them all at once and really get shit done instead of just hoping and sitting down and getting distracted. One of the tasks that I have in my website changes even has subtasks. So I am going to go through a few of those subtasks. So for anyone listening, the task itself says create content upgrades for these posts or pages. So basically there are some posts and pages that I wanted to update with some specific pieces of information. And then within Asana, you can create subtasks that go underneath that. So you're not retyping everything all the time. Underneath, I have 14 individual pages or posts on my website that I want to update with this particular information. There are so many different things, and I'm just going to kind of read some of them out, especially if someone is listening via audio, because you can't see the 39 website changes that I need to make. And you guys, I teach website stuff, so I have a lot of them. I can't imagine how many someone might have if they're not completely immersed in website activity. So a few of them that I have on my list are things like some of the classes and courses that I have that have specific notes for your website. I have that on the list. Set up a contact page like a sales page. It's just a very different format for a contact page. I wanted to switch it over. I wanted to update the gallery to address the idea that I'm not a model. So many of my clients tell me, but I'm not a model. I can't look like that. And so I wanted to update my gallery to address that and to speak to that specifically. Let's see. I have one of the tasks is a note on a plugin that I wanted to look at and see if it's something that I wanted to use. I need to update my website blueprint. That's something that I haven't worked on in a while because my photography website works very, very well. I kind of just leave it alone. But if you do not have a website blueprint, I really want to encourage you to head over to businessstraightedup.com/website blueprint. It is a free tutorial and template for you to create a blueprint so you know exactly what pages go where. Let's see, what else do we have here? Update my blog post that's about when to schedule your session and create a graphic for it. So that is an older blog post, but I really want to update it because it just needs some new love. I want to update my hands and nails blog post. I have actually changed my 404 page to be functional. And for anyone listening that can't see, I actually saved a link for someone that had a 404 page that I really liked so that I knew what that meant, because I knew if I just put it in there, I'd be like, be functional, what? So that gave me the chance to really look at it and say, how can I switch mine up so that it's more functional and help someone navigate my site? Let's see. Set up default image for mailing list page. I actually have already done that, but that was something that needed to be done because people were asking on Facebook about my mailing list. And when I shared the link, the default image was not working. Update sidebar on blog posts. I just wanted to update the sidebar with more recent images. I also added my Instagram widget next to my blog post so that someone can see my Instagram feed while they're on the blog post as well, kind of best of both worlds. So the point is, and those are just a few examples, but the point is that I have 39 tasks on my website changes list. There are so many tasks. Now, oh my gosh, can you imagine going through your day and dealing with kids that need your attention right now, homeschooling, everyone's homeschooled, or clients trying to figure out, how to work with your client and make sure that they have an elevated client experience while also dealing with 39 things that you need to change on your website. That is really overwhelming. I cannot even imagine trying to sort through all of that. So instead of doing that, I will put them all in one place so that I can actually go back later when I have some time. I block off. If you are listening to this, I am willing to bet that you are a go-getter. You're someone that wants to learn and move forward with their business, and you probably hear a ton of valuable information in podcasts and books, in addition to seeing suggestions and help in groups. And I'm also willing to bet that you've had some ideas and then you don't write them down and you forget them, because I know I have. I actually have a really good memory, but I still forget things because we are just running constantly and those things just slip out of our brains. When you hear my podcast and others and hear the takeaways that you want to implement, this will be a great system for you to keep track of them in one place so that you don't forget them later. You could even set them up based on books or categories that aren't like the ones I shared. It could be something like takeaways from a specific book, items to do from a specific conference, things that you want to implement that you learned in a course. The point is you have everything in one place so that you can take action and make sure to work on them instead of letting them fall to the side and never getting back to them. So I want to know, now that you have seen my system, tell me what works for you. Do you have a Post-it note stack that you actually go back to that doesn't just sit on your desk like mine? Or do you have a different tool? There are so many options. You don't have to use one over the Asana is a tool that I use regularly that really helps me and my team keep things in order, and I highly recommend it. I'm not an affiliate. There is no kickback or bonus for sharing it, and their free plan is more than ample for a small business. It is an amazing tool that can help with so many things. Website changes is just one category in so many. Let me know what you use, what you love, and bonus points if you take a screenshot of your tool and share it in the community. You can always access the community at businessstraightup.com/community. If you loved this episode, don't forget to head over to iTunes and leave a review. It only takes a few minutes, but it means the world to me and my team. And we have a special gift for you when you do. Type out the review, take a screenshot, send it over to hello@businessstraightup.com so that we can send you a special gift. We appreciate the review so much. So I want to thank you in advance for sharing your thoughts. I want you to know how much it helps others. Thank you so much for sharing some time with me today. And if there's anything that I can answer when it comes to your website, email marketing, or business, I am happy to help. You can ask on Instagram at Business Straight Up, all one word, or in the community. Until next time, have an amazing day.